Hey, everybody. We're back. I thought I'd finish up this round on gallbladder and gallbladder disease since there's so much demand for it out there. We'll talk about some of the things that maybe are new and on the horizon. This is Gastro Primo. We're here on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you would, follow us, like our page, and share with your friends, and tag with people that you think might find this interesting. On YouTube, you can click the subscribe button, ring the bell for new content updates, and give us a thumbs up if you like the episode. Please share it with your friends. As always, we're here to offer information, not necessarily advice on your specific situation. Take that up with your doctors. We certainly would be happy to answer any questions that you might have if you'll direct those at us. Hopefully we'll have a website here fairly soon, and hopefully you can gain access to us that way as well. So let me jump right in and pick up where I left off before on gallbladder disease. Historically, we talked about what gallbladder disease, what the gallbladder served as likely, and what gallbladder disease has evolved into. Let me quickly get into the what can be done about it part of this. One of the things that's coming fairly soon, unfortunately maybe not in this country as fast as in some of the other countries where the legal parameters are not quite so difficult to deal with, but there's going to be undoubtedly a faster, more efficient approach to gallbladder disease that's going to become available fairly soon. And my guess is that it's going to become an endoscopically provided service. We've got laparoscopic gallbladders now, which has cut the length of time and suffering significantly over your standard open cholecystectomy, which most all surgeons were trained in doing 20 years ago. Now, the general surgery programs are not spending quite so much time devising surgical techniques as they are laparoscopic techniques. And so the laparoscopic cholecystectomy is of course, the standard right now. However, what's on the horizon is an endoscopic approach. And believe it or not, there will be a way to provide gallbladder removal through the mouth. This is already available in other countries, but will be available in this country in the not too distant future. This is literally an approach where you can have your gallbladder removed by using an endoscope through the mouth, down through the esophagus and into the stomach, and cutting a hole with the endoscope through the stomach wall out into the subhepatic space, removing the gallbladder, pulling it back through the stomach, out through the esophagus, and removing it through the mouth. I know that's hard to believe, but that is already being done as a matter of routine in other countries like Japan. And it won't be too long, hopefully after some negotiations, if you will, can be determined as to how safe and how standard a procedure that can be. But when you look at it, you're going to get to a place where your gallbladder could almost be removed in the mall. I mean, you're at a point at which once someone becomes efficient enough at doing this, this process will become endoscopically available and won't require much in the way of recovery. Given that, gallbladder disease probably will become a much more routine process and a whole lot less difficult situation to deal with. So new techniques, new approaches to removing internal organs are going to become standard of care, not too far off. So very quickly, I want to go through some of the things that likely will lead to that progression. Gallbladder disease has become much more of a problem now that we have so many people overweight, and the balance of those fluids that I told you about in the gallbladder have become more of a problem as a result of that. So once we gain access to a better approach to weight management and rebalancing those fluids, gallbladder problems likely will become less difficult to diagnose, easier to manage, and hopefully much easier to avoid. The key to dealing with biliary tract diseases is going to be, in large part, management of weight. As our livers become infiltrated with fat, as our biliary tree becomes out of balance with those chemicals that I mentioned to you in the previous session, the bile salts, the lysolecithin, water, and cholesterol, all of those contents are going to be out of balance when you're overweight. And hopefully, once we identify better ways to control our weight, we'll be able to lessen the incidence of gallbladder disease as a manifestation of what appears to be an organ that's sort of out of date. So the liver, the biliary tree, the gallbladder, and the digestive system all being a mechanism whose service to us is predominantly one of survival, can only be substituted for if we find means by which dietary intake can be modified and made more readily available. So again, in the philosophy of the process, the likelihood of identifying those things which will become more readily available to us as fuel will by necessity make the biliary tree less essential. And if it is less essential, will probably make our tendency toward gallbladder troubles even worse if we don't modify our biliary hygiene as we're doing it. So gallbladder as an organ has virtually become an obstacle and serves almost no useful purpose in modern humankind. Many gallbladders have been removed. Many gallbladders have been looked at morphologically, histologically, and so far we've not been able to find any useful purpose for the gallbladder other than historically as described to you previously. So the biliary tree actually may be evolving into a structure whose function might become obsolete as well, should we be able to get our fuel in a different manner, as well as our what we call fat-soluble vitamins, which are essential for normal body function. Those fat-soluble vitamins are acquired through our diets, and they are facilitated by the bile salts and biliary secretions. Not so much in the fat-soluble nature of those vitamins, but in vitamins in general. So getting the fat-soluble vitamins, the so-called vitamin K, A, D, and E vitamins that are essential for other functions in the body, in part is related to fat in your diet and the proper absorption of that material, which requires bile salts to achieve this, what we call micellar accommodation, which provides a water-soluble envelope in which those fat-soluble materials become more efficiently absorbed through the water-loving small bowel mucosa. So again, once we determine that we can gain access to fuel by means of other approaches rather than bile salt dependent, then again the biliary tree begins to recede historically into an organ whose function primarily begins to fade somewhat. There are other parts to the biliary tree that are essential as well, but none of them as essential as the ones we've discussed here. So in closing, let me just say this. The gallbladder and the biliary tree appear to be less important in our existence as we begin to identify foodstuffs that we can gain access to without their presence. Obviously, we were designed to function the way we function, but as those structures become less and less important, odds are our need for them will decline. I hope that gives you some historical perspective as well as some modern day ideas about what's going on. We're going to talk about some of those things blended in with some of the other subjects that we discuss. I really enjoy the philosophy of medicine as much as I do the actual practice of medicine, and given that, hopefully in the near future can give you some additional information on that. Again, this is Gastro Primo. We're here for you on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Would like for you to follow us, like us on our page, and share with friends, as well as, if you would, tag people who might benefit from this, and we would really appreciate you passing it along. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so that you can get new content when it becomes available, and give us a thumbs up, and if you would, share it with your friends. I'm not sure what the next subject's going to be, but we'll decide that here shortly and talk to you about it when it becomes available. Again, enjoyed talking to you. Look forward to the next episodes, and see you later.